To food stamps now. I have an answer for one of the questions you guys have been asking about the government shutdown. And the question we've been getting is this: are food stamps going to run out during the government shutdown? Specifically, people are worried about whether food stamps deposit payments are going to be made on time if the shutdown drags on. Well, I have an answer for you. The answer is yes. There's a possibility that food stamps could run out during the government shutdown, and I'm going to explain in detail and show you where I got the information from because it's a very reliable source. So hang in there with me. But in the meantime, if you're new to our channel, I want to urge you to subscribe to our channel. Our Food Stamps Now channel is dedicated to providing you up-to-date information, news about what is happening with your government benefits, specifically with food stamps in and out of Congress, and anything that's happening that could negatively or positively impact your benefits. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So let's get right into it. So with the government shutdown looming, and it looks like it is actually going to happen. I mean, today is Thursday, and the government runs out of funding on Saturday. So the question is the shutdown going to happen? Well, all indications look like the two parties have not been able to come together and agree on a solution. So let me explain first, why are we even in this mess to begin with? Well, the federal government has a different calendar where the fiscal year starts October 1st. So what that means is that Congress has to pass appropriation bills to fund the government starting in October. So everything ends September 30th. And then for the government to operate, Congress should have passed all the bills that is necessary to fund the government in the new fiscal year, which starts October 1st. It's the same reason why your SNAP increases start October 1st, because the government's fiscal year starts October 1st. So typically what needs to happen is that there are 12 appropriations bills that the Congress need to pass and the president need to sign in order to fund the government for the next year. In years past, that has not been a problem. But recently, they've had a problem coming together to agree on what should be included in this package and to be able to pass these 12 appropriation bills. So they usually have a backhand solution or a temporary solution that they are usually able to bring to bear, which means that they will pass what they call a continuing resolution. And what a continuing resolution does is that it keeps all the funding in place where they are. So everything stays the same, and they kick the can forward a few months or even a whole year so that they don't have to pass the 12 separate bills, because that has become a very contentious thing to do. So Congress avoids that sometimes and passes a continuing resolution that says, okay, everything we've agreed on for the previous year, we're just going to keep the same amount and use it for the next month, the next few months, the next 6 months, or the next year. Well, in this particular situation, number one, they haven't been able to pass the continuing resolutions, and they haven't been able to pass the appropriations bill. So because the two options they have to be able to keep the government open, they haven't been able to agree to pass those two options. That is why the shutdown is looming. And the only way to avoid a shutdown on Sunday is if one of these two options is successfully implemented and the president signs it. So they either have to pass a continuing resolution to just keep things the same for a few, a specific period of time, or they have to pass the appropriations bills, the 12 appropriations bills, to fund the government going forward. So now the question is, if the shutdown is looming and is really possible, what does that do to food stamps? Well, according to the Secretary of Agriculture, the food stamp payments for October are going to be made. So your question is, how are they going to do that? Well, there's something called contingency fund, which is kind of like a rainy day fund that the US Department of Agriculture has in case something like this happens, where they can dip into and be able to pay benefits. But that contingency fund is not limitless. It is actually very small. So the issue is that they are going to be able to pay food stamps in October. But beyond that, they don't have enough funds to be able to pay anything beyond October. And so, where is this information coming from? Well, we have a credible source, which is this website that is called Verify. It's a very credible place where they answer questions about topics, where facts need to be stated and verified. So they received this question and they dug deep and they have the answer. So I'm going to show you what they're saying. Yes, food stamps could run out, as the title says, during the government shutdown. And so I'm going to go into details about what they are saying. So specifically, and this was published a few days ago. So they listed all their sources, where they got the information from, and you can see the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, is on there. This is information coming directly from him, and how a shutdown may affect the over 40 million people that are on food stamps. So their answer is true. Yes, SNAP and WIC could run out of money during the government shutdown. And so they go on to explain that the government has enough money in the contingency fund. So let's start with WIC. For WIC, according to the Secretary of Agriculture, as soon as the government shut down, they have a day or two in money to be able to fund the WIC program. That's it. Beyond that, there is no money. So if you've been hearing, or if you're on WIC, or you know somebody on WIC, this is the situation they're going to face. If the government shut down, WIC doesn't have money. So they don't have money in the WIC contingency fund to be able to fund that program beyond the shutdown. It's just a day or two, and there's no more money. Now let's go to SNAP. As I mentioned, the Secretary of Agriculture again is saying that they have money in the contingency plan to pay for SNAP benefits at least for the month of October. But there's going to be some serious consequences if the shutdown continued past October, which means that if SNAP benefits are paid in October and the shutdown continues past October, there's no money that's going to be available in the contingency fund to be able to pay benefits beyond October. Now, what are you going to do, or what should you do if this worst case scenario happens? Well, you have two options. One, reach out to your state food stamps agency, and find out what their plan is should the government shutdown drag on. Some states may have contingency plans of their own that they may be able to roll out. So it's best to just check with your state's food stamp agency what their plan is. If the government shutdown drags on beyond October, what are they going to do to pay SNAP benefits? Now, remember, SNAP is a federal funded benefit. The money comes from the federal government. So at least the majority, a very overwhelming majority, comes from the federal government. So if the federal government is not going to send money to the states to pay SNAP benefits, I don't know if some states have that kind of money laying around to be able to do that. But you never know. So it's worth checking with your state agency. The next place is food banks. Food banks are preparing for this scenario and may be able to help you ride the few weeks or months. Who knows how long this is going to take? And this is all contingency. So we are hoping that, the best hope is that something happens between now and Saturday that avoids a shutdown. But if a shutdown happens, what you would hope and pray for is that it doesn't drag on beyond October. But if it does, a food bank is also a place to look for in terms of resources to help you temporarily ride this issue until the shutdown is resolved, and then you're back to your normal SNAP benefits payment schedule. So that is what I have today. That is the update I have for you. As you can see, this is from a very, very reliable source. And I wanted to bring this information to you very quickly so that you can begin to think about what you need to do for yourself and your family as we look at this shutdown scenario play out right in front of our eyes. So, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to urge you to do that. Hit the subscribe button. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video.